brilliant anthems for Uruguay and France. A very good evening from James Burridge and Johnny Beattie, wherever you are listening to us in the world tonight on Rugby World Cup Radio, 5 Live Sports Extra. Listen to that noise now, getting louder and louder. 50,000 feels like 80,000. It feels like the Stade de France of a week ago. This music has been pumping out around this stadium since about 6 o'clock this evening, just after 9 o'clock local time here. Our referee tonight, Ben O'Keefe, in charge. White shirt, navy blue shorts, navy blue socks. Our TMO, Ben Whitehouse. And France are going to be playing from right to left in this opening half. Blue shirts, white shorts, red socks. Uruguay in their yellow shirts, their away strip. 1 minute. Light blue shorts, yellow socks, and Johnny Beattie. France know so much expectation. Listen to this crowd. They want to see a big score tonight.
Oh, look, they've been a joy to follow. You just get the noise, the volume, and the buy-in from these French fans. They've got their side back. Is this their time? They believe they can win this trophy. And who would doubt them? The way they've played over the past 3-4 years under Fabien Galtier. Now a real chance to notch up a potential score, carve out a bonus point, and march into next week's game against Namibia. And a big opportunity now for a number of players picking up game time, notably Maxime Lucu, Antoine Hasloy, only the second time they've played together. A big game for them.
Waiting for the clock to count us down on the big screen. It's something they've done throughout the tournament so far. And Hasloy just waiting. Remember, this is a French team with many changes, 12 in all after that victory over New Zealand in Paris last week. No Dupont or Aldrit. Marchand still nursing his hamstring injury. Dante and Bai still out injured. No Willemse and Antimac, of course. So what can this French side make tonight? We're underway here in Lille, and France coming straight away. Villiers with possession, but it looked as if he'd knocked it on. The referee says player's gone into touch, but right from the whistle, France flooding through that left-hand channel, trying to get a fast start.
And a poor restart set. Ben O'Keefe now has seen the knock-on by Makalou. It was his kick chase. Laneacker again, the big second row that plays it by on, misjudged that. Take his pod just jumping 2 meters ahead of where they should be, the ball dipping over his head, and now a big first test scrum time. Uruguay in their 22 against Aldeguerri, Jean-Baptiste Gros.
Slow call.
Scrum 5 meters from this near side touchline. This is what Uruguay were practicing in their warm-up. Their forwards coach were trying to get their front row really low, trying to get their pack low, because they know what is coming. France have got some absolute units in their second row. Taufi Fanua tonight, 21 stone, 6'8" in that second row. Alongside Cameron Wookie, they've got Thibaut Flamand on the bench. And that was the double act in the second row, Johnny, they went with last week, and there have been questions since Willemse's been missing. He's out of the tournament. Maybe some question marks on where Galtier goes with his second row throughout this tournament.
That is the question. Unfortunate to lose Paul Willemse. They were asked to train for 5 days at home by themselves with no physios and no strength and conditioning coaches. 10-centimetre tear in his quad, and now the choice for Fabien Galtier. 6-2 split again tonight. Thibaut Flamand, Bastien Chalureau, Cameron Wookie, Romain Taufi-Fanua, all battling it out for those starting spots.
Big pressure on Santiago Arata, the scrum half for Uruguay. He's going to need to whip this ball out the back of the scrum, and it's a penalty to France.
Sanguinetti on the loose head side, he's been absolutely buckled, folded up like a deck chair by Dorian Aldeguerri.
And France going for the posts, and there's been some surprise shrugs alongside us, around us here in the stadium. Obviously the expectation means that every time France get a penalty in or around the 22, they want to kick for the corner and let the maul do the talking, but no. Melvin Jaminet, the fullback, takes the ball, grabs his kicking tee and just goes through his familiar kicking routine. A try scorer last week, Melvin Jaminet. 19 points against Fiji in the warm-up during the summer. This 5 metres from the near side touchline. We're in the opening 3 minutes of this first half. France against Uruguay. Up steps the fullback. Beautiful strike, right over the top of the posts. Melvin Jaminet striking it so sweetly, and he gives France an early lead, 3 points to nil. Johnny Beattie.
The perfect start for France. Big disappointment for Uruguay though. Lineker, normally so good under the high ball restarts at Bayonne in top 14, completely misjudges. Resulting scrum at Sanguinetti. It's not even technical, it's raw power. He's been absolutely bust by Dorian Aldegheri. 3-0 for France.
Uruguay, 17th in the world. This their 5th World Cup. Only 3 victories in World Cup history. Spain in 99, Georgia in 03, Fiji, the one that everyone remembers, 30 points to 27 in 2019 when they had just 22 full-time professionals. Extraordinary to see the progress that has been made in Uruguayan rugby. A number of their players now playing here in France. And the rest in this World Cup squad playing for Penarol. As France still in their 22 from the restart, centre of the pitch, right to left they play. And scrum half tonight, Maxime Lucu. Looking to kick the ball, left-footed, does so, gets good 15-20 metres on that, and it'll give Uruguay a line out on France's 10-metre line. And Johnny, from a Uruguayan perspective, from that kind of a mental perspective, they've got to believe they can threaten France, certainly in this opening half, but it's a daunting prospect, isn't it?
They will believe. They've got a bunch of boys that play in the top 14, a few that play in Pro D2 in France, and professional rugby back home. The chasm should be lesser than it was 2 or 3 years ago.
They come through with that line out, good crash ball, and Ardao, the back row, takes it on. Now it's the number 8, Manuel Diana, who takes it on another metre around the edge of the ruck. Uruguay now attacking the right-hand channel. Lovely little line there from Villaseca, the skipper. Brings play almost up to the 22. Bassa, the right wing, goes in at replacement scrum half. Bringing the charge on once again now, Sibiveta, the open side. They've got a lot of options out wide here. Uruguay with a little kick up over the top. Meant for Freitas. Freitas! He's done it! He's in! I thought he might have knocked it on! That's an extraordinary bit of ingenuity there from Uruguay. The kick for the corner, somehow Freitas gathered it. And he is in. What a memorable moment for Uruguay. They take the lead here against the host France.
What a moment for the Uruguayans. The build-up is actually beautifully orchestrated. Structured rugby, testing the French defensive line. And the crossfield kick in the end to find Freitas, the man that plays for Vannes in the 2nd division in France. What a moment for him. Controls the ball with his thigh after the crossfield kick. Takes his time, regathers. And pushes the ball down with Gabin Villiers hovering above him.
Well, the Stade, Pierre Maubois, has gone a bit quiet now, Johnny, after all that fanfare early on. I'm not sure anyone in here, the 50,000 in here, expected that. Now for the conversion opportunity. Far side touchline. A real test, this one, for Edgebury. Just steadies himself. And he's hooked that one badly. That is one he'll want to put right behind him as quickly as possible. All the training, all the practice, and sadly, Johnny, you might have done a little better with that one from the touchline, I think.
No. Actually, you don't give the credit. There was Louis Biaibari, who was clocked last week at training, 39 kilometres an hour down in Cabreton. He's nearly got to that kicker. He's gone past the 22 as he's walked into his strides under immense pressure. So he might have to hurry up his routine a little bit. But if we had any doubt if we were in a game or Uruguay were going to offer something, my oh my, what a start.
Big cry of Allez les Bleus from the crowd here to try and inspire and ignite their team. Uruguay 5, France 3. Yes, you heard that right. Wonderful try in the last minute from Nicolas Freitas, the left wing. And the box kick clear from Arata downfield. And France take it on their 10-metre line. Respond with a High kick in the air. And brilliantly taken by Jaminet. 15 metres from the near side touchline. Luku pops it up to Jean-Baptiste Gros in the centre of the pitch. Scrum half recycles again. France trying to get some phases together. 3 Uruguayan forwards had to bring them down that time. The pick up and drive this time from Tafi Fanua. Not an easy man to bring down. They've got the advantage as Uruguay guilty, Ben O'Keefe says, of not rolling away. So Luku just goes straight through Uruguay, the scrum half. Now 10 metres out, options to the right. They keep going. 8 metres out now, France. The pick up and drive, they're doing some serious damage here. They're a metre out from the line, looking for their opening try. 8 minutes gone on the clock here in Lille. Uruguay leading by 2 points. The advantage still with France. And the crowd now getting behind as Uruguay try and counter-ruck. And here comes the penalty blown by Ben O'Keefe for offside. And we're used to French scrum half sniping. Antoine Dupont's done it so well. But that time, Maxime Luku, Johnny Beattie, was the man who found Uruguayan's defence asleep.
Yeah, very nicely done. Only his 17th cap, but already a very, very assured international. The power game up front, the carries by Romain Tafi-Fanua, by Paul Boudin, just punching in to this Uruguayan defensive line, and Maxime Luku with the show and go, the penalty advantage at hand, just testing, probing that defensive line, creating the line break. And now a real opportunity, a scrum right under the Uruguayan sticks. Defensive line split, what can France conjure?
You'll remember from the last scrum we had, Matthias Sanguinetti, the loose head for Uruguay, came under real pressure, buckled and conceded the penalty, as France now, the fans around us here, bouncing up and down as they always do in the opening minutes. A rallying cry to their team and another penalty, and big, big problems here for Sanguinetti.
I absolutely love the chant. Qui ne saute pas n'est pas français, which means if you're not jumping, you ain't French. And every single person in this stadium, I think the Uruguayans are confused. Everyone's jumping.
Johnny, from a Uruguayan perspective, though, they are under the real pump here. They've got to try and find a way to just get through these scrum. Every scrum so far is turning to a French penalty, and Sanguinetti, I'm not quite sure how he tries to convince Ben O'Keefe that he's doing everything he can to keep it balanced.
Well, simply he has to ask his second rows, his back rows, to give him absolutely everything. Looks like there's a little bit of a power difference up front, which means they're going to have to stick their heads down even harder. It means the back line, the back row has a bit more space, as does Maxime Luku.
France with a scrum underneath Uruguay's post, playing from right to left. 10 minutes gone on the clock. They trail 5 points to 3. The scrum, the front rows have collapsed. Luku waiting. He goes to the right-hand side, the scrum half. Brings in Hastoy, and he's over. The fly half, first touch, glided through the Uruguayan defence. That was a soft try, but you felt it was coming. And France dot down.
You say a soft try, but actually really well orchestrated. The decoy line by Yoram Moefana straight away creates a 3-on-1. Antoine Hastoy could have picked up outside of Melvin Jaminet or Biaï Barry to into the corner. In the end, he keeps the ball under his arm. He's enough power and speed to get over himself. But the platform absolutely perfect, provided by the biggies up front. And the smiles back on the faces after the early worries. Antoine Hastoy, Melvin Jaminet, high fives all round. Really nicely worked try by the French backline.
Melvin Jaminet now kicking this conversion from the far side of the pitch. About 7 or 8 metres, just outside the Uruguayan 22. 8 points to 5. Can he add the extras here as the countdown clock, the shot clock, appears on the big screen, of course, used now to try and keep the pace up. Up he steps with the kick. He gets such height on the ball. Unbelievable height from Jaminet. Adds the extras. And France now 10-5 to the good. France have got an embarrassment of riches when it comes to kicking, haven't they, Johnny? Because, of course, Thomas Ramos is on the bench. And Melvin Jaminet proving to Fabien Galtier just the options he has throughout this tournament. As the ball is restarted and taken by Cameron Wilkie on the 22-metre line, and now the French scrum mauling this out of danger. They've gained at least 10 metres, make that 12, 15 and counting. This is pretty phenomenal stuff, and they get the advantage as Uruguay come in from the side. So this is free play for France as they get on the loop. Jaminet whipping the ball out wide. Lovely stuff from Les Bleus as they attack down the far side channel. Weaving left, right, and they've gone up to the 10-metre line. Luku to Hastoy, up to midfield. Taufi Fanua gets through one tackle, eventually brought down 10 metres inside the second half. France now back in charge, back in the lead in the opening half. It's once again, Moefana takes it on. Another lovely bit of recycled play by France, bursting through the tackle. You can hear it, Bougarit, the hooker, as France attack down this left-hand flank. Wonderful continuity. The skipper driving on, Anthony Gelange, his first game since the Six Nations. With France once again, Hastoy spots a gap. Bougarit, was he taken? The ref taken out off the ball. The referee's giving a fresh advantage. Phase number 7, the kick downfield, and they'll come back for the penalty.
Contact off the ball.
Well, you just get the sense this is dangerous for the Uruguayans. The French initially with a really nice take from the restart, the maul drive, giving them that go-forward ball. And then wave after wave of attack. Sekou Makalu. What an athlete in the outside channels. The offload again gets the continuity. The ball free to Louis Biaibari. And once this French side get their tails up, the offloads start going. It's like chasing shadows. It's so hard to defend against. It's exhausting for the Uruguayan players.
Ran into the French player off the ball. It's contact without the player having the ball.
Ben O'Keefe just having a little word to the Uruguayan skipper, Andres Villaseca, captaining today, and lovely bit of history with the Villaseca family. His brother captained him in the 2015 Rugby World Cup. They are the only brothers to skipper their country. As Jaminet steadies himself, centre of the pitch once again. Ball at an angle on the tee. France playing right to left in this opening half. He steps up once again. And the crowd will tell you the answer. Another 3 points for France. Discipline is really hurting Uruguay, Johnny.
It's hurting them, but it's just so hard to chase these Frenchmen down. They're now so well organised, physical, and getting their hands free. It's when you get tired, you stray offside, you make these little discipline errors. That just compounds everything. Another free shot for France, or a kick to the corner for another launch play.
Edgeferry, the 10 for Uruguay, gets us back underway. Kick for the corner. And Uruguay needs some territory. Need to try and, if they can, keep France inside their own 22. Wonderful try from Freitas. Early minutes for Uruguay, who have stolen. They've got turnover. This could be interesting, but the pass was a shocker. Dearie me, that was not clever. And it was the second row, Lienlica, who couldn't get the pass away. And they have to make moments like that count. Actually, I take it back. It was Pudas, the hooker, who passed the ball to Lienlica.
Wait till the ball's in.
What an opportunity that was as well. 5-on-3 on this open side turnover ball. The Frenchmen all set back to exit their red zone with a kicking structure. They would have been caught short this side if the ball had come wide. Rodrigo Capo Ortega up on the big screen, former Uruguayan Castres captain, my captain as well at Castres. What a man. Enjoying the appreciation of the fans, both French and Uruguayan.
Scrum to France on their 22, and Uruguay really struggling in the set piece. They've got a free kick now, France.
No break foot and early.
That Uruguayan front row, I don't know what coach Esteban Menezes does. He may have to make changes in the second half, because France know they've got Uruguay just where they want them up front. It is one-way traffic. Pretty much every set piece, every scrum here is, if it's not a penalty, then it's a free kick, as the Mexican wave begins here in Lille.
You can just hear Ben O'Keefe as well on the ref mic just saying the last one was a free kick for the break foot, but the next one will be a penalty. They really need to sharpen up their act if they're going to achieve parity in this area and get themselves into the game. Otherwise, it could be a long afternoon. Coping penalties at scrum every single time.
Luku prepares to feed for France, the scrum half. They've gone down again, both sets of front rows. But Joulange picks it up, and now France will attack from outside their 22. They've kicked it and lost possession. They've managed to just hold on to it. Joulange once again gets the pass away. Nicely done to Makalu. And Luku this time, the scrum half, the number 9. He's going to try and box kick this and give a nice chance here for Villiers to chase it. High into the night sky, it's gone backwards. Worky takes it, passes it out wide. Now France have options if they can recycle the ball quickly. Makalu's only got 2 men to his right-hand side. France leading by 13 points to 5. 18 minutes gone here in Lille. In Pool A, their second game of the tournament for the hosts. As France now throwing some nice shapes together, bursting through again. Hastoy, the try scorer. And Luku whips it away. Jaminet, options to the left. Villiers, the left wing, tackled by Basso, the right wing for Uruguay. France now 15 metres from this near side touchline, just between the Uruguayan 10-metre line and 22. Hastoy now, the number 10, drives it up. Cries of Allez les Bleus once more. Quick passing here from France as Joulange takes it up again. Hastoy hasn't got many options, tries to bring a flat pass onto Villiers, who's tackled, driven back brilliantly in the tackle by Uruguay. This time coming off his wing is Bialbiari, and the ball goes into touch, and actually a penalty. Penalty to Uruguay, hand in the ruck from France, and big defence there from Uruguay. Johnny Beattie.
Big defence, standing tall. I actually thought that first penalty could have gone against Uruguay. If you watch through that back, the last ruck, he actually goes past the ball with his hands initially, which should be picked up and penalised, but then he follows through and counteracts. France looking dangerous, managing to offload from unstructured ball, creating line breaks, tackle breaks and offloading, but Uruguay sticking to their task, not crumbling, and that's a big penalty for them.
More bouncing up and down from the fans, lots of red, white and blue being waved, and the crowd here having an absolutely fabulous time. There is a pocket, a light blue pocket of Uruguayan fans behind the post to our right, and they're not bouncing up and down, they're just staying as they are. But the line out lost by Uruguay, and again that's from their perspective that's hugely frustrating. They're going to have to do the basics well if they're to pose any threat tonight. France 13, Uruguay 5, 20 minutes gone.
This one's a penalty, we know that, okay? And the last scrum, good height, very good.
You can just hear Ben O'Keefe talking to the Uruguayan front row, saying he needs the height to be right, he needs balance, he needs parity, but they've been really struggling to come to terms with this brutal front 5 of France.
It's a real shame as well to be picked up for a squint throw that, you know, after chasing shadows for the past 15-20 minutes after that opening try, that could have been an opportunity to hold on some ball. Test France, they look promising as well in the structures when they held on to ball, but the set piece just letting them down.
Free kick to Uruguay.
Guys, we step forward once and twice. We step forward once and twice. Stability before the ball in, please. He's
consistent on wanting stability, Ben O'Keefe, tonight. This time Uruguay, as the pitch, a massive lump of turf has just come off from that scrum. And Uruguay have the free kick just shy of halfway, 15 metres from the near side, so they're going to put up a huge kick here. Edge very. It's going to land in the 22. It's an easy take. Bit of a waste there. Jaminet isn't going to drop those with no pressure.
The idea was good. It's one of those horrible spiral bombs that you see George Ford or many standoffs now splaffing up into the air. Just a little bit too much on it though. Far too easy from Melvin Jaminet.
And Uruguay take it quickly. Outside their 22.
Okay, goal, wait!
Bit of kick tennis.
Wait! Who's put him on?
Back once again to Jaminet, centre of the pitch. France from right to left in this opening 40 minutes. They lead by 13 points to 5. Edgetrade takes it.
5 metres, play on.
Kick downfield from
10 metres here.
Uruguay. Taken at pace. Jaminet, wonderful inside ball to Moefana. Oh, Villiers now, the left wing. dancing his way up to the 22, 5 metres from the near side touchline. Uruguay have done well. They've got right on top of him, and they're trying to stop. They're actually trying to fall on top of him. There's players on top here to try hold on to that ball, but it's worked. It's done the job, and they have the turnover.
What about the effort from Santi Arata? That's unbelievable. The man that plays his rugby for Cast. The scrum half, I think the 7th man into that maul to try and jump on top of it and close any opportunity from French defenders. France just showing how dangerous they are, though. The kick chase game, Melvin Jaminet, massive hoof, 50-metre gain, a little bit loose on the way back. With the kick quality from Uruguay, and they're straight onto it. Go forward ball. Sekou Makalu into the game through offload again.
Perfect, thank you.
To Gabin Villiers, and that's when they look dangerous. They just spark on that looseness. The kick return from Uruguay, a little bit poor. Straight away, 40-metre possession gain. Held up in the ruck though, and maul formed.
Coach!
Another scrum for Uruguay.
Fines!
Uruguay with a put in. 7 metres from the near side touchline. The scrums have gone down. This time it's a penalty to France. On the Uruguayan 22.
Good stability. Number 1 pulls back and hinges.
Ben O'Keefe.
Yeah, we pull back and hinges.
It's black and white for him. And I'm afraid the loose head, Matteo Sanguinetti, in his 80th match, is really feeling the heat. This time, Hastoy says, right, no more kicking for the posts. We're going for tries. We're going for the corner. He kicks it to within 5 metres. And France's pack slowly and calmly make their way up into position for this line out. 5 metres from Uruguay's line. Near side touchline, right to left France attack. They lead 13 points to 5. Just the one try, nicely taken at the front. And now the blue and whites prepare. Get their positions with them all. Plenty of numbers in there.
Down by blue!
It's the ball is on the deck. It's collapsed. So Luku, the scrum half, has to go in, and Uruguay have stolen that possession back. They've done brilliantly to disrupt that maul and take possession from France.
Really nicely defended by Uruguay. Again, we can see the professionalism about how they defend. Stacking that defensive line, defending a pod in the middle and at the tail, allowing France to take the ball at the front. But that's when your defense is the most organised. You know if they take that front ball, you can pile and smash them at 45 degrees in the back of the ribs, hit and spin them, get them towards the touchline and destabilise. They do an outstanding job. Well done, Uruguay.
However, they've got a scrum 5 metres from their line, a scrum which has come under incredible pressure. Only 25 minutes into the contest tonight, and the penalty count is racking up. Arata, the scrum half, with the ball waiting to feed, but can Sanguinetti keep that stability on the loose side? Arata's got his arm up. They now have the penalty, Uruguay. Ben O'Keefe.
No, you hit, and then there's 1, 2, 3 steps forward. Too much weight before the ball's in. Free kick to penalty.
Well, there's your explainer from Ben O'Keefe, and Uruguay will be hugely relieved about that.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting back and forth at scrum time. France obviously dominant, but they're a bit of a slice off the boot with the clearance kick. Dominant, but they're a little bit too keen. They can smell blood. They want to get in and smash and get Uruguay on the back foot, but too much pressure, too early, not allowing the 9 to enter the ball into play. Jean-Baptiste Gros doesn't look too impressed, but a let-off for Uruguay,
who are outside their 22 now. Puadas, the hooker, failed to get it straight last time, and it's not the easiest of balls, puts huge pressure on Arata. Edgeverry's going to run this, pops the ball up in midfield to Ardao, the blind side, and Arata now. They're going to try and run this Uruguay outside their 22. Down the near side touchline, outside the 22 this time, and Basso, the right wing, tackled very near to touch. 13-5, France lead here. 26 minutes gone. Good evening from James Burridge and Johnny Beattie, wherever you're listening tonight, as a massive hit goes in on Arata from Taufi Fanua. That, oh my goodness, that looked awful. You could hear the hit. And they get the penalty, actually, Uruguay, as a result. How Santiago Arata has got up after that tackle from Taufi Fanua. I do not know.
It's going to be referred to the TMO, but it looked on first instance. Santi Arata has a small bloke. He's tough as teeth, though.
France. It's coming up now on Uruguay, number 9.
It looked like some contact from Roman Taufinoa, but the height of Santi Arata, the fact that he was heading downwards with the tackle, made a half break, half taken. Oh, actually, on reviewing the big screen, that does not look good.
Oh no, it's a shoulder to the head. It's a left shoulder to the head, right in the head of Santiago Arata.
Foul play reaches yellow card threshold, so the yellow card. We're going to yellow card.
Roman Taufinoa.
Reviews and if we want to show us.
No, all good.
Okay, check on me when you're ready. Anthony in 5.
It's a yellow card. Ben O'Keefe.
We have foul play. It reaches a yellow card threshold because there's contact with the head. He could be lower. It's going for off-field review.
So, a yellow card for Roman Taufinoa of France, who are down to 14 players. Nice to see him go up to Santiago Arata to make sure the player is okay. He should be going off for an HIA.
Let's confirm it, Benny, right here.
And we'll see if that happens. Now, what happens here, there's going to be 8 minutes for Ben Whitehouse, the TMO, to review that call. It might be upgraded to a red.
Uruguay.
That will be his decision as they review it. It's just part of the process here. It's an immediate yellow card. They'll have to check mitigation, whether another player influenced that tackle, but we will find out in the next 8 minutes. But France down to 14 players. They lead 13 points to 5 with 27 minutes in. Here's Johnny Beattie.
It has to be said, the mitigation looks minimal, if any. It's a 2-man tackle. He's gone over and apologised to Santi Arata, who he knows very well from the top 14, but that might well be getting upgraded to a red. France now, for the minute anyway, down to 14 men, and a real opportunity now for Uruguay to hold on to some ball. It's been a long time for them.
And their line-outs come under a lot of pressure, and it's done so again as Bugarit, the hooker, kicks it downfield. He won possession, and now Uruguay back in their own 22, and Arata, I'm not quite sure what he's still doing on the pitch, and this time Hastoy's come in high on Arata. The fly half came in quite high on Arata there. France have got to be careful with their tackles. They're leading 13-5, but they're a player down as Makalou rips possession away. And France are now in Uruguay's 22, searching for their second try. They're down to 14, but you wouldn't know it. Moefana had options to his right, and he's lost possession. The ball's gone forward. It is all happening here in Lille.
In Uruguay.
That was another huge opportunity for France. Turnover ball, the ball stripped by Sekou Makalou.
Uruguay scrum.
Great work on the deck, and the turnover is made again. The ball comes infield to Yoram Moefana. He actually has 3 or 4 men on the outside channel.
The
4 against 3. The ball could have gone to space, but he decides to cut back into the midfield. He loses the ball in contact. A little bit frantic by Uruguay. Great counter actually by, again, it's Santi Arata. He's electric every time he gets the ball, coming back, beating 2, 3, 4 men. His pack trying to play pick and go quickly out of their 22, losing the ball to Makalou. And what an opportunity that was for France.
Scrum to Uruguay on their 22, 15 metres from this near side touchline on the 22, and Arata just looking at the options. Can Sanguinetti, the loose head, try and keep stability? Arata whips the ball out straight away, and once again Uruguay getting width on this wonderful ball out wide to the left wing, and Uruguay coming downfield. Brilliant little bit of ingenuity out wide as Freitas takes it on, and Uruguay up almost to France's 22. They're tackled. Biel Barry gets the tackle in on Freitas. Arata. Oh, and Uruguay knock on their 10-metre line, and France get the advantage. And the basics are letting Los Terros Uruguay down as they kick downfield. France, it's taken by Basso, the right wing, looking for space, going to try and take on the French defence. He runs into Luku, the scrum half, on the 10-metre line. France have 2 or 3 players covering back. Villaseca, the centre, up to halfway, 5 metres from this near side touchline. 30 minutes gone on the clock. France leading by 13 points to 5. Still 7 minutes on the review, and Brilliantly taken, a little chip kick up the top, taken by Aliaga, the second row, and now Uruguay kick downfield. It's come off the boot, and Uruguay can go play on here. Freitas once again. The left wing scored a try in the opening minute, and he's knocked on. Inside France's 22. These knock-ons are really costing Uruguay, because they're threatening here, Johnny Beattie.
Oh, it's costing them massively. Again, you have to question that a couple of the decisions by Echeverri. 10 jerseys, he's got a 3-on-1 on the outside channel. He opts to kick the ball again. The ricochet actually comes back in their favour. But again, they lose the ball in contact. But France looking shaky. Down to 14 men, that allows parity at scrum. Uruguay have got a chance now to play the rugby they want to play. France not blitzing as they normally would, up in defence with their line speed, a man short. And suddenly Uruguay coming into this game.
Okay, let's sit, please, Blue. Let's go. Uruguay.
Still waiting to hear what's happened to Romain Taufifenua. About 5 minutes left on the bunker review. And Ben Whitehouse will soon be informing Ben O'Keefe what the decision will be. Will it be a straight yellow, or will it be upgraded to a red? 9 minutes to half-time. France have a scrum inside their 22, far side of the pitch, with a player down in the pack. As Luku feeds, scrums have gone down, and a penalty to Uruguay.
Tight head in and down.
Big scrum by Uruguay. Just shows the importance. Romain Taufifenua, 145 kilos, removed from the scrum. France down to 7. This time it's Dorian Aldeguerri penalised. Opportunity now for Uruguay to kick to the corner, potentially capitalise.
Just keep holding.
While France are down to 7.
Just hold, time off. Anthony!
We might be about to have the decision.
It's okay. The yellow card will remain a yellow card. Okay, there is direct contact with the head, there is high danger. However, there's mitigation because of a second tackler, the player drops. So he'll come back on after the 10 minutes. Okay.
Ben O'Keefe just confirming there to Anthony Gelange, France's skipper, that Romain Taufifenua will be allowed back on the pitch. Just a yellow card. They say there's mitigation, but again, that'll be a huge talking point at the end of this match, Johnny Beattie.
It was minimal. It was minimal. I know Sekou Makalu has come in and he's caught Santi Arata, but he hasn't really shifted Santi Arata's body position. Romain Taufifenua has come in with an awful body angle.
Uruguay trying to get them all going. Will they pile a few more bodies? They've got a good position. 7 metres from France's line. They've got a good drive here, Uruguay. Remember, France still down. They've got France where they want them. Aratas now calling for it, the scrum half. It's come from Villaseca. Now they've got options. They're going straight through, Uruguay! Their second try! Unbelievable scenes here in Lille.
Got a try here.
No one had this on the script. Echeverri, the fly half, and all the hard work done by the pack, and a back line that screamed for the ball because they knew there were numbers. They knew there was space. Echeverri, the 10, grabbed it. And now we have a 3-point game. Could become a 1-point game now. It's just being checked by the TMO. Ben O'Keefe is just wanting this checked.
Just hold the shot clock, please.
They're checking. There was a half check on Antoine Hastoy, who is maybe a little bit of a block line by one of the Uruguayan runners. Antoine Hastoy was taken beyond the ball.
Being our on-field decision is try, we have a grounding. We just want to make sure that there's no obstruction to lead up to that try.
Yeah, I'm going to show you actions of 13 causing obstruction to the French defender. I'll show you 2 angles, a tight and a wide. Here they come.
It's a discussion for Ben O'Keefe, and once again Ben Whitehouse, who's been very busy, and we're checking to see whether the outside centre of Uruguay blocked Hastoy from making the tackle.
He's in a position to see the pass, but he's on the outside shoulder of the French player, so he stops the tackler. So I'm going to just let...
Here's the wide, Ben, if you want to see it.
Jimmy, happy with disallowed? So we're going to disallow this try. Ben, are you happy with the penalty?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, back on me.
Oh, what a shame for Uruguay.
Okay,
Timing's
so
a little bit
no
off.
try. Although the Uruguayan player is in position to receive the pass, he makes contact on the outside, he stops a potential tackler, so we have a penalty against Uruguay for that. Happy?
Yes.
Thomas Inciarte that's been penalised.
So
Just
your player's on the outside shoulder, he makes contact with the French player, and he stops a potential tackler making a tackle.
He's an option for mine.
Yes, you're right, he's an option, but because he hits him on the outside, he stops him pushing wide.
it's a really fine line. You've seen them given the other way.
He must run on the
And
inside of
accorded.
him. It was he that initiated the contact. Thank you, Andres.
Ben O'Keefe having a conversation with Andres Villaseca, and Uruguay
Just wait.
have been very unlucky. But Ben O'Keefe makes the call. He says there was obstruction
Just hold. Just hold.
from Thomas
Okay,
Inciarte on Antoine Hastoy. It's back to 13-5.
Okay.
Two big talking points, Johnny Beattie. The fact that Romain Tafafanua will be coming back on the pitch. Many people will think that should have been upgraded to a red. And I still can't quite understand why Arata hasn't gone for an HIA either. As again, the replay of the non-try is put up on the big screen, and the Uruguayan fans to our right
Good space.
not at all pleased with that decision. Into the last 5 minutes of the first half here. Plenty going on in Lille. France 13 points to 5 up. And Uruguay asking the questions here. That could have been a 1-point score. 1-point gap. As France have the line out inside their own half. Uruguay's pack trying to disrupt, get in the middle, cause problems. France drive on. It's still with them. Sanguinetti looks like he's come right through the middle of that maul. He's got his arms around the player, and Luku's going to have to use this ball. Luku, box kick downfield as the Marseillaise rings out again. It's been knocked forward by Uruguay, and they make it even worse. They compound the error. Arata in front. Offside, penalty France, and Johnny, how quickly things can turn.
It's so cruel. I mean, to think you've gone from scoring under the sticks to within a penalty, 2 penalties.
Number nine runs
You get a kick to the halfway line, you get a maul, you concede another penalty from the kick, and now from what you thought was your score, 80 metres away, you're now on your 5-metre line, defending France.
Line out to the French inside the Uruguayan 22. 7 metres from the Uruguayan try line. They're attacking right to left, France. They lead 13-5, looking for a second try before half-time. 1 try apiece, and Tafafanua has less than a minute in the sin bin as the French pack get into position. They pop the ball up. Villiers, the left wing, comes to the fray. France out, 5 metres out. Uruguay counter-ruck. And have they stolen possession back? Yes, they have. It's been knocked on, and Uruguay now have possession. Arata waiting, just getting that little caterpillar formation at the back of the ruck, wants to kick it clear, left-footed, does so. That's a huge reprieve for Uruguay. Jaminet, the fullback for France, thinks about a quick line out, doesn't. And again, Uruguay hold firm. Johnny Beattie. 2
really nice pieces of play by Uruguay. Firstly, is Lineker again, the big man. Previously, Oyonnax, now Bayonne, filtering his way through that maul, causing absolute havoc. France forced to chip it out the back. Villiers with a big carry, but he's absolutely smashed on the gain line. The ball dislodged in the collision. Another turnover for Uruguay.
Line out to France. Bougeret feeds, quick ball off the top, and Luku fires the pass down the line to Hastoy as France come through on the crash. Right and centre pitch. Gelange takes it on. Luku again recycling as France attack the right-hand side. Bougeret, his second touch in 30 seconds as France attack wide now down that right-hand channel into the final 3 minutes before half-time as Uruguay once again trying to get their hands in. They've done it illegally.
Not supporting body weight.
The Jackler went beyond the ball. And World Rugby and the referees have been very clear about this in the tournament. The player who's coming into the ruck has to support his body weight. He cannot put his hands beyond the ball, and it's given France a penalty on the 22. And Hastoy says, right, come on. We need to finish this first half with a second try. He kicks for the corner.
And big Romain Tafafanua back on to add his weight as well. Sardao has pinged in the contact area, guilty of just sticking his hands beyond the ball first. That's what's given France the penalty. And now a real opportunity before half-time to nudge further ahead.
Crucial couple of minutes defensively here for Uruguay. Jelange takes it, Bugaret gets to the back, and he's been in the thick of the action, the hooker, and Uruguay are light in numbers as this French maul creeps forward. It's gone down.
Advantage!
And another advantage being played. It's been taken down illegally. France have got options to the right-hand side as Uruguay's defence spreads out. Tafi Fanoa, how ironic it would be if he was the one to score. He's at the base of this ruck. He picks up and drives. Uruguay just hold him out. The pick up and drive around the left-hand side of the ruck. 3-4 French forwards. And now a pocket of 2 to the left of Lucu. And now Hastoy kicks across to the left-hand side for Villiers. And he's gone out of pitch. He's run out of room. And they'll come back for the penalty. Johnny Beattie.
Melvin Jaminet is absolutely livid. He wanted that ball to go classique, as they would say in this part of the world, straight through the hands. Hastoy has gone for the glory option, the big cross-heel kick to Villiers, but there's too much on it.
This is going to be a warning against your
They
team.
could have walked that in with simple hands.
We're going to collapse on the maul here and then offside. Okay. Too many penalties against your team, especially down here. If it doesn't change, it'll be a yellow card. I'll let you talk to your team now, please.
That's a final warning for Uruguay. And Andreas Villaseca, their captain, that's their 9th penalty conceded in this half.
Number 7, offside.
Into the final minute here in Lille. France 13, Uruguay 5. 1 try apiece. There has been so much going on inside this first 40 minutes. It's been an electric first half. And France, they have not been at their accurate best so far. A long way off.
Sable, good straight. Yep.
Many consider them kind of third gear against the All Blacks. Probably stuck in second so far as they and their pack prepare themselves. They have a scrum 5 metres from Uruguay's line. Far side of the pitch, 15 metres from the far side touchline, playing right to left. They're back to the full complement of 8 forwards after Tafi Fanoa was sent to the bin for 10 minutes for a high shot on a ratter as Lucu feeds the scrum. It's gone down at the front, but Lucu has the ball. Ben O'Keefe says play on. Moefana has it. The centre takes the crash ball. France right underneath Uruguay's post. Driving on Macalou. And a penalty to Uruguay.
Obstruction, Anthony Jelange. Similar to the penalty that was given away the other end of the field by Uruguay. Anthony Jelange just guilty of streaking ahead of the play, blocking for Sekou Macalou. France, as you mentioned, second gear, not quite getting things right. That will be the half.
A half, Johnny, full of controversy, of moments which on another day could have been judged very, very differently. It's gone quiet again here at the Stade Pierre-Mauroy in Lille. Nobody expected this scoreline. France 13, Uruguay 5. And had that obstruction not been judged by the officials, it would have been 1 point in it because it was the try from Edgeverry right by the posts. He would have got the conversion. So let's kind of sum this up, Johnny. Let's reflect on what's been happening in that first 40 minutes because France, we know they've made changes. They made a lot of changes, 12 changes tonight. But I suppose with that change comes inconsistency, an inability to have sense of cohesion, which perhaps France have been lacking. They haven't taken the opportunities when they've been offered up.
Do you know, it's almost weird as well when you play, and this might sound disrespectful, when you play against a different quality of opposition. We saw through phases when France held ball, they go forward, they offload it, it becomes more unstructured because you're able to move forward and those offloads stick and it should be easier, but then you come out of your structures and you become a little bit unsettled, and a penalty here. Early scrum dominance as well that they couldn't capitalise on. Uruguay have come straight back into the game, scored what could have been 2 very good tries, and so just a little bit disjointed for France. They've had the bulk of possession, the lion's share, they've squeezed penalties out of Uruguay, but they haven't really punished them. 13 points on the board, and again we held a few whistles there as they were coming off the field. We know that the Frenchies can turn, they can be your biggest fans, and if things aren't going well they can be quick to turn, but encouraging in fits and bursts for Uruguay. When they've held on to ball, they've been passionate, they've been proud, they've carried well. They've scored one, they nearly scored a second, and this game is not going to be easy for France. We maybe thought, if you're looking at the bookies, it was, a 65-point head start pre-game, but this is going to be a difficult second period as well for France. It's been a great first half of rugby.
Just explain for those listening, so the Taufi Fanu incident, the tackle on Arata, it was referred up to the bunker, it was a high swinging left shoulder in the face of Arata, and like we've seen throughout this tournament so far, the slow-mo kind of doesn't make it worse, but you know what I mean, it's not a good look, it looks like it's a red, but the referee Ben O'Keefe and his TMO Ben Whitehouse said there was mitigation, there was a reason why that shouldn't have been upgraded to a red.
The only reason there is that they are deeming that Sekou Makalu has moved Santi Arata into a different area, which has meant that Romain Taufuna could not control his body properly enough not to hit him in the head. But if you look back at his tackle technique, his elbow's up at 45 degrees. There's no way he's in any situation to wrap. It's a horrible piece of technique. So it should be punished. I mean, yes, Santi Arata is probably a foot different in height to Romain Taufuna, but those are the rules. We're there to protect everyone that plays the game. You made the correct point as well. If Santi Arata's had head contact, they should go off for an HIA. I know he's the best player in their team, but he needs to go off and get looked at if he's had a collision with a 145 kilo bloke in the middle of the field. So I think Romain Taufuna can be he can consider himself very, very fortunate to still be on the field during the second period.
Discipline's going to be really key in that opening 10 minutes of that second half for Uruguay. Johnny, they've been warned by Ben O'Keefe, but it's pretty difficult when you're facing this French scrum onslaught, because at scrum time, well, we thought the first 20 minutes it was only going one way, but it seems to be doing a bit of back and forth at scrum time, but no doubt the French scrum should be dominating Uruguay.
It should be. I think there was a little bit of a swing when France went down to 7 men, but the concerning thing for Uruguay is they've already conceded 10 penalties. Normally in any game or 80 minutes you play, you want to get 10 or less. That's your aim, to stay in any game, because every time you give away a penalty, it's either 3 points or it's 50 metres of territory, which makes staying in the game extremely difficult. So Uruguay will have to tighten up. They'll have to get in and smash quick sets at scrum time. They've also been pinged a couple of times just straying offside or taking a man off the ball, just little things that if they can solve, they'll make it much tougher for France to grind them down. So yeah, a little bit worrying for Uruguay. Scrum time certainly, but the rest, if they can sort out, they can get themselves back into this game.
Great stuff, Johnny. Thank you, Johnny Beattie, former Scotland international, alongside me, James Burridge, here on Rugby World Cup Radio 5 Live Sports Extra. Wherever you are listening to us tonight, a very good evening from Lille. It's been a cracking first half. France in the lead, just a try apiece between each other, 13 points to 5. Now you can get in touch with the hashtag RWC 2023. I'm sure many people will, after all the incidents we've seen in that first half. Let's reflect now, though, on 4 years ago and Uruguay's sensational performance in Kamaishi, where they opened that World Cup, well, they didn't open it, but that memorable win against Fiji in Japan. They had prepared better than they ever had before, and they ended up stunning their opponents and the world.
Uruguay first made their mark on the Rugby World Cup in 1999 in their debut in the competition. They would waste no time in introducing themselves to the wider rugby world, beating Spain in their opening game.
But is there anything for Spain to mark their day? No, it's an interception here, and Uruguay may well be on their way to another score, and it's the substitute who's been on the field a matter of moments who is going to score it, and he flings himself over the line for the glory, and Juan Menchaca scores and raises his arms to the heaven. He can't believe it. Uruguay are home and dry.
They'd repeat the feat 4 years later in Australia, this time against Georgia. But after that elation, dejection swiftly followed. A 111-13 annihilation by England showed just how far the South American nation had to go.
The Uruguayans, for mine, they covered themselves in glory, especially in that 15-minute period. They did have dominance of the game. They stole the momentum and the tempo. Should be very proud, especially what they achieved last Tuesday night when they defeated Georgia. Tonight, they were simply outclassed.
Los Teros would fail to reach the next 2 World Cups, and when they made their return in 2015, a still largely amateur side would struggle to make an impact. In came Argentine coach Esteban Meneses, and an approach typical of Uruguay's South American neighbours. Domestic reforms saw the creation of a high-performance centre and a swing within the squad towards professionalism. By the time of their opening game with Fiji in 2019, Uruguay had never been better prepared for a Rugby World Cup.
And hello from me, John Inverdale, wherever you're listening in the world, whatever time of day it may be, and welcome to the 10th match of Rugby World Cup 2019, and in many ways, far and away the most important, because this is Fiji against Uruguay at the Kamaishi Memorial Recovery Stadium, built on the site of two schools washed away by the devastating tsunami of 2011, when a wave travelling at 450 miles an hour created catastrophic damage along the northeastern coastline of the island of Honshu.
While Fiji would be the first to cross the try line in just 8 minutes, the Uruguayan response indicated the previous 4 years of work had been well worth it.
That was a loose pass, which is picked up by Villaseca in midfield, and here's an opportunity for the scrum half Arata. Some lovely dancing footwork, and he's away from two players. Can he make it to that line? He can! He can! Santiago Arata puts Uruguay in the lead against Fiji after 14 minutes. Here's Lendakar again, the man who took that line out, and he's supported by 2 or 3 Uruguayans at the back. And here's an opportunity. They must be over the line. They are! A second try for Uruguay, and their number 8, Manuel Diana. McKatie out to the left winger, Silva. And if Silva can make ground and throw it inside, which he can, this is one of the best tries of the Rugby World Cup so far. And it goes to Villaseca, and it puts Uruguay even further ahead. And that is Uruguay doing to the Fijians what Fiji tend to do to everybody else.
Anticipation of one of the great Rugby World Cup upsets were growing, but in the second half, Fiji began to fight back.
We've been playing for 7 minutes in this second half at the moment, and it's all been in the Uruguayan half, and they've just conceded another penalty as well. So this is a free ball for Fiji, and there's a magnificent offload, just caught short of the line. So Fiji got 4 men wide. They surely got a score here, and they do. The try to Ratuni Yawara. Will Matawara go on his own? Yes, he will. He threw the dummy. His opposite number, Ormachea, bought it. And the Fijians are over, and they're in contention. And now the match is poised on a knife edge. Fiji 22, Uruguay 27.
As Fiji fought back, experienced fly half Felipe Berchese would settle Uruguayan nerves.
With a chance to win the match for Uruguay.
He's kicked it.
And he's done it! He's done it! Felipe Berchese, a goal-kicking machine. And he has given Uruguay an 8-point lead against Fiji with just 4.5 minutes left.
Those 3 points would put Los Terros out of reach, even after Fiji crossed the line in the final play of the game. Cue an outpouring of emotion from the hundreds of Uruguayans in Kamashi that day, plus the players on the pitch, including their fearless captain, Juan Manuel Gaminara.
I'm really proud of my country. We're not the biggest, we're not the tallest, but we came here to win. We are preparing this since 4 years, so I'm really proud of my country.
Uruguay's first World Cup win in 16 years sent shockwaves through the rugby world. As they now return for their 5th tournament, all eyes are on taking yet another step forward.
John Bradley reminiscing on 4 years ago and Uruguay's shock victory over Fiji at Japan 2019. Good evening, welcome to Lille and the Stade Pierre-Mauroy. James Burridge here with Johnny Beattie commentating on France against Uruguay. A dramatic opening 40 minutes. 1 try apiece, Uruguay opening the scoring, France responding with Hastoy the scorer after a wonderful start. Freitas, the left wing for Uruguay, going in the corner. But the big 2 talking points really have been the non-sending off, if you like, of Roman Tafi-Fanua, given a yellow card, which wasn't upgraded for a red after a left shoulder in the face of Arata, the scrum half of Uruguay. Incidentally, he hasn't gone off for an HIA either, which will be a big talking point come the end of the match. And then Uruguay had a try ruled out for an obstruction by Enseate, their outside centre, on Hastoy as he tried to make a cover tackle on Felipe Edgeverry, who had scored to the right of the post. So plenty going on in the first 40 minutes. The question will be, can Uruguay live with the pace, the fitness of France, and hold firm, because their scrum has come under huge pressure, particularly on the loose head side. Matteo Sanguinetti, the loose head prop, has really come under the cosh from the tight head Dorian Aldegri of France, as Uruguay coming back out on the pitch, just checking for any replacements. And they come out in their yellow shirts, blue shorts, yellow socks. Plenty of matches still to come over the next 4 days. We've got New Zealand against Namibia tomorrow, Samoa, Chile on Saturday, Wales, Portugal Saturday, Ireland, Tonga Saturday as well. We'll be in Nantes for that one. And then Sunday, 3 games, South Africa against Romania, Australia against Fiji. That should be a brilliant match. And England against Japan to round things off. Still waiting for France to come out from the tunnel, and no doubt they are going to be given, must have been given, a bit of a talking to by Fabien Galtier and his coaches to try and get on the scoreboard and put these opportunities away, because Johnny Beattie, France have had countless opportunities to put Uruguay away.
Incredibly, they've had 66% of possession and the territory. They've had all the ball, but they just haven't managed to crack the nut, which has been a Uruguayan defensive line that's been sturdy, stubborn, and that will give lots of heart to all of the sort of lesser or second-tier nations. Namibia taking on New Zealand, Chile taking on Samoa. Lots of clashes over the next few days, but Uruguay fighting, duking it out with the French, showing loads of heart in that first period. But you're right, I think in that break, Fabien Galtier will have had a few words for his Frenchmen as well. More clinical. They will have to be with ball. They need to punish the Uruguayans. If they have this amount of ball, they should be scores up. They haven't been. Now with the full complement, 15 men back on the field, can they do more damage in this second period?
Felipe Edgeverry with the ball in his hands, fly half for Uruguay. They're playing right to left in this second half. Yellow shirts, light blue shorts, yellow socks. France in their navy blue shirts, white shorts and red socks. 13 points to 5, France lead. The crowd still coming back to their seats. And a few replacements too from France, just running behind the post to my right-hand side. Ben O'Keefe just waiting for the call from the officials to get us underway, and Alele Bleu beginning to ring out here around the Stade Pierre-Mauroy. We're back underway here in Lille. Rugby World Cup Radio and 5 Live Sports Extra from the BBC. James Burridge and Johnny Beattie with you here. And France have possession. They catch the restart inside their 22. And Luku, scrum half today for France. Box kicks clear, right-footed. It hasn't found touch. It's taken by Freitas. And Amasha, the fullback, comes upfield to Basso, the right wing, tackled centre of the pitch, just beyond his 10-metre line. Arata, lovely, wonderful line here. Straight through the gap is Amasha, has to find a runner. Amasha still going the fullback, into the 22. Huge cover tackle. Uruguay in France's 22 with an absolutely sublime break. The drive and pick up once again by Civetta, the open side, and France caught napping here. Early stages of the second half at Uruguay. Powell, the bodies out down that right-hand side. France leading 13-5, but Uruguay have the advantage now too. Options wide. So many options, and the knock-on in the end. There was a man over on the left-hand side. Freitas searching for it, but the penalty to Uruguay. Opening minutes of the second half, Johnny Beattie.
A lovely piece of play. And for the All Blacks that couldn't unlock the French defensive line, this blitz defense that they play with, watch the Uruguayans. Edgeverry taking the ball to the gain line, a double pump of the ball, and lays it off on his shoulder to Freitas. the try scorer, Uruguay as well, opting not to take the 3 points, kicking to corner. They want to take this game to France.
They have the line out. They've kicked for the corner. They've got the line out, and they are steadying themselves here. The line out's been gone slightly awry so far. It's been under huge pressure. It's a great take, though, by Aliaga. France throw the bodies into this maul. What can Uruguay deliver? There's plenty of French bodies in there. No one knows where the ball is. It's actually not on the try line. It's back here, and Uruguay are going to need to get some forwards through, and France have stolen it. Villiers comes away. Complete and utter disorder as France smash the ball downfield from Lucu, and that's brilliant defensive work by Les Bleus. 13 points to 5, and boy, they needed that, France.
Big turnover for France, but it looked for all the money in the world that Dorian Aldegheri crept round the side and swam up the side of that maul as opposed to entering legally. And then took down Diana, the big number 8 that was acting as the launch off the back of it. Couldn't get the ball away. Uruguay go again, though.
Sorry, Johnny, line out once again, and Uruguay trying to throw some shapes. They've got some numbers out wide. They had 3 options. France's defence holds firm. Nice tackle by Vincent, the outside centre. Arata looking to the right, centre of the pitch, still with Uruguay. 3 forwards drive the ball upfield. Quick ball. Arata down the back line, Echeverri driving on that time, Enciate. And now a penalty to France, holding on to possession.
It's a real shame for Uruguay. I haven't seen a side look as comfortable against a French blitz defence in 24 months. This is the best I've seen in a couple of years. I mean, France are a little bit disjointed, but there Uruguay again taking the ball to the gain line, taking and throwing different shapes, not allowing France to settle there. Just guilty of taking an extra roll in contact. And for all the hard work they've gone through, that undone themselves. Another penalty given away. They now find themselves in their own 22. It was Puadas. Again, it was a strong carry. They've been great on the gain line, but just that extra roll shows a poor image to Ben O'Keefe, pinged.
Line out to France on the Uruguayan 22. They're playing left to right, Les Bleus, in this second half, taken by Macalou. And it's not straight. The pressure now on France. Bougrit would hit his man in the line out every day.
And this is now, James, where the questions will come. When you look at South Africa and the depth and the rotation and the ability to mix and match, and Ireland and the different permeations they can play with, France now starting to lose their shape a little bit, their core skills. Another opportunity. Bougrit, he's won a Champions Cup twice, but completely undercooks the throw to the tail to Macalou. Undercooked and squint.
Now this is where Uruguay are going to have to do the basics well. They've got a scrum on their 22-metre line, playing right to left. And the scrum under the pump big time in the first half. They've got to try and clear the danger. Arata, the scrum half, feeds, yellow shirt, blue shorts. And the pack holding, trying to hold off France. They've got a penalty, Uruguay.
Too much work before the ball's in.
It's the same penalty as the second period, as the first period, sorry. Dorian Aldegheri going too early, too much power, chasing his feet. Uruguay not really able to take the impact, but Aldegheri so dominant that almost showing a poor picture to Ben O'Keefe.
Great penalty kick downfield, about 30-odd metres, as we look at a picture of a very disconsolate French squad. Aldrit, Dupont, Ficou. You look in shock. You can't quite believe what's happening here. France 13, Uruguay 5. 5 minutes into the second half. The line out from Uruguay goes long, and they just hold on to it, Uruguay, but it was pretty loose stuff as they take possession just inside France's half. And the knock-on from Uruguay as pouncing on top of that ball. Aldegheri trying to make up for the mistake from that scrum, forcing the turnover, and will give France possession back.
And this is a moment in time where you look to your leaders. You need your big players to step up and say, look boys, let's calm this down. We've just lost another line out in 22. We've now got a scrum attack. We've got 35 minutes to bust this Uruguayan defensive line. Let's control a bit more ball. Let's not be silly. We don't have to push these offloads. Let's just generate a bit of time in possession, a bit of ball and play time, stress this Uruguayan defensive line, and see what we can muster.
Scrum to France, just inside their half. Approaching halfway, about 17 metres from the far side touchline. Luku, ready to feed. Uruguay's scrum is buckling. They've got the advantage, France. Jelonge picks it up. It's loose for Luku. Hastoy picks it up. France still have the advantage, and now they'll get the penalty.
No advantage.
And when it's their ball, Johnny, it's a different story because they can maybe control it a little more.
Just everything's so frantic at the minute. So even that ball, they've got dominance in that scrum. If they just hold the ball in at 8's feet, they're going to get a scrum penalty. They could win the game simply by being controlled, assertive and powerful at scrum time. There, because the scrum goes forward at such a rate of knots, it's scrappy ball, the ball shoots out to Hastoy, and they don't quite get the launch play that they want. It all comes to nothing, they knock the ball on, and it's very telling. The crowd now whistling all around us. The penalty just over the 50-metre line, and still in French half. They've opted to go for the 3 points, and the French crowd letting their team know what they think of that decision.
Chamonix was practicing from about 55 metres on the angle in the warm-up. This one maybe a metre inside. 56 metres on the angle for the French 15. As he just composes himself. France need to find some of their magic. Up comes the kick, and he's pushed it past the left-hand posts. A grimace on the face of Melvin Jaminet. It stays 13 points to 5 to France. One try apiece so far. Uruguay have never had a better opportunity.
What a scalp this would be.
We know the heroics of 4 years ago in Kamashi. Can they stay in the hunt? 8 minutes into this second half. Almost got to go by 10-minute chunks here, Uruguay. They can't afford to look too far ahead as France now have possession. Jaminet, high kick. That's gone almost, it's touched almost the very top of the side bit of the stadium. And now it's picked up, and Villiers going to race in. Now, was there a knock-on?
He's looking to his assistant. And it does look like they're going to come back for a knock-on. They might check it on the big screen.
Yeah, sure. On-field decision try. So Ben, on-field decisions try. We've got a grounding. Let's make sure there wasn't a clear knock-on in the air. Whether it's off the chest or it comes off the arm.
Yeah, here's your best angle for it now. It's knocked on, and here's your best angle.
Ben Whitehouse, our TMO, discussing with Ben O'Keefe, the referee on the pitch.
Here they come now, Ben.
Shoulder.
These two have been kept busy tonight. The kick was an absolute jaffa.
It's good hitting at his shoulder there.
It came off Jelonge.
Sorry, it hits his arm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got no try there. You happy with that?
And the try will be ruled out.
Okay, back on me. I'll say this.
But that's a tactic, Johnny, that France are bound to use again.
No try.
Well, it's something that worked for them extremely well. All the sides that kicked pragmatically,
comes off the shoulder,
kicked long and then went to the air. You think of England against Argentina, you think of France against New Zealand, you think of South Africa against Scotland. Whoever won the kick baton, every time France have gone to the air, they've caused chaos. It's just been a case of not being able to control ball in hand at all. They've looked so shocked almost with ball in hand as we see benches being unloaded underneath us.
Uruguay's front three completely swapping. Sanguinetti, Bardas and Pecolor off. Gattas, Benitez and Pursion. And equally France making 5 changes. The entire front row being changed. So too Bastien Charleroi, and there's been plenty of discussion about him. The French forward. Plenty of controversy because of the off-pitch incident, facing this suspended 6-month prison sentence.
It was actually an assault that was on a good friend of Thierry Dussatoir as well. That ended up in Charleroi being fired from Toulouse. He then picked up some game time and signed a new contract with Montpellier.
Front row, wait, okay, hold for the ball.
Round of applause for Anthony Jelonge, who comes off the skipper today. Good to see him back playing after his terrible knee injury. Charlot on for Taufi Fanoa, Crow on for Gelange. Francois Crow comes on, the Toulouse flanker. How will these changes affect the scrum? France 13, Uruguay 5. 49 minutes gone on the clock. Far too close for comfort for France as Arata, the scrum half, feeds, and it looks like there's big pressure on this scrum. He's got to get that ball out, Arata. Done a great job, but put huge pressure on Entiate, the centre, who somehow has got possession out, and they're going to try and... I thought for a moment they're going to run that Uruguay. They kick it downfield instead. Jaminet, the fullback. And he gets through just the first tackle, but he's clawed back as Uruguay try to go in and disrupt it. And it's good defensive slow ball in Villaseca, the centre, the skipper. Big tackles coming in from Uruguay. Now they're on that ball, Uruguay, and they've got the penalty.
This will enrage the French staff. So what we talked about just 2 seconds ago, that territory game, Jaminet, 2-on-2 in his own 22, trying to run out into nobody, giving his forward pack back foot ball. They have to retreat 40 metres. What we saw from France in that first game was low risk, pragmatism, playing the game in the right areas of the field, and ultimately they're not respecting the Uruguayans. And Ardao, who we saw coughing up a penalty in the first half technically for getting his hands past the ball, there Charleroi first touched the ball, chopped to the ground, and Ardao straight on, perfect jackal. And now Uruguay, another chance in the heart of the French 22 to do some damage.
Gattas, the replacement hooker, goes long to the back. It's a great take at the back of the line out by Uruguay, and France flood through a number at that ball to try and disrupt it. Centre of the pitch, Uruguay, right to left they attack. They're 13-5 down on the clock, and being told by the referee they've got to use this ball. Racing in at replacement scrum half is Freitas. There's a pod of forwards driving this upfield. Civetta, the open side. The show and go that time. Freitas once again. Under the post here, Uruguay. Arata tries to have a little bit of a dart. Runs straight into French defence. They pick up and drive to the left-hand side. Maybe a metre or two gained. Uruguay go to the right-hand side. Trying to get round the opposite man. A beautiful run in the corner. Amasha scores for Uruguay. This is unbelievable. There was a huge hole, but this guy, Balthazar Amasha, just scythed through the French defence. Game on big style here in Lille.
And it's not luck, it's really well worked. And as Melvin Jaminet, I believe it's him, who's just guilty of an overread. Actually, it's Arthur Vincent who's been checked. Normally so good in the 13 jersey. But the Uruguayan attack, structured, effective, decoy runners, hard to come up and hit men.
So guys,
and it's that original error from Jaminet, putting his side under pressure. The Uruguayans all around us, the splashes of light blue around the stadium, now on their feet. What a try, they're second in this game. A third chalked off, and what an upset this would be, James. Oh my word.
Edgeferry now steadies himself with the conversion opportunity just outside the 22. Uruguay attacking right to left. The team are in a huddle on halfway, getting some water, getting some key messages from their coaches, whilst their fly half tries to bring this game to within a point. Up he steps. Is it straight enough? It is, you know. Felipe Edgeferry takes the extra 2. I can't believe I'm saying this, but 13 points to 12. I'm having to check my notes to see if I'm dreaming here, Johnny Beattie.
But how good. I mean, for World Rugby, for the competition, Uruguay leading. Favourites France at home.
Edgeferry has possession outside the 22. France 13, Uruguay 12. And the kicks charge down. France now responding straight away. Right on top. The charge down kick. Malvaca, right place, right time. And Uruguay's party. Immediately the bubble burst. An immediate response from the hosts.
could that be the shot of confidence that France were looking for? 13-12 up France, but looking shaky. Uruguay, their exits have been a little bit disappointing there. The pod catching the ball, retreating. And it's actually Echeverry tries to kick through traffic over his own players. The rebound off one of his own men, and Beto Movaca, the replacement, first on the ball, reacts the quickest, gets that counter. And might that just be the settler that France need now to kick on, control possession and take back control of this game? But what a game it's been.
Conversion here for Jaminet inside the 22. You would have thought fairly routine for the fullback, straight through the sticks. France 20, Uruguay 12. They are not safe yet, France, but they can just breathe a bit better, Johnny Beattie.
Oh, really pulled by Uruguay. Schoolboy error in the quality of their exit. France quickest to react. They're not out of the woods yet, but they need to control. Need to respect this Uruguayan side properly.
The restart from Echeverry, high, hanging on the 22.
Inside.
And cleared downfield by France. They take it quickly. Oh, that's a ball. Very risky pass that time to Basso, the right wing, from Amasha, the try scorer. Jaminet outside his 22. France from left to right in the second half. Plenty of space back there. This could work very nicely for France. Unfortunately, Uruguay get it. Did they knock that on? They're coming back for a penalty to France. All the way back to halfway.
That's... Number 14 was advancing in front of the kicker. Number 14 advancing in front of the kicker.
Well, it's very lucky, because that could have been almost a knock-on from Arata back on his own 5-metre line. So the penalty will belong to France. And Hastoy is saying to his teammates, we should go for goal from here. They're still having a discussion here, France.
Okay. They've chosen the scrum from the kick. Back here.
So it'll be a scrum on the Uruguayan 10-metre line.
It's a penalty for where he's in front, or a scrum where he kicks it.
And they're going to come all the way back to probably another 30 metres on the angle, closer to where we're looking from our commentary side on the 10-metre line.
It's a really harsh penalty. It's just gone up on the big screen. And they've pinged Basso for being in front of the kicker, but if anything, it's marginal. The Uruguayan players looking bemused.
Uruguay, your player who kicks, 14's in front, so they get the penalty there, or they can choose to have a scrum here where he kicked it.
Really marginal penalty.
Another change for France. Timo Flamand comes on into the second row.
Incredible story. You consider he was playing Loughborough University 5th 15 at standoff 4 or 5 seasons ago. Here he is now, Grand Slam winner, top 14 winner with Toulouse, leading his side in a World Cup.
Guys, we can restart.
Arata's work is done. The dynamic number 9, and Omachir, Augustin Omachir, the scrum half at Nice. Son of Diego Omachir, the oldest player in World Cup history at 40 years of age back in 1999 for Uruguay. His son now takes to the field at scrum half as La Marseillaise rings out around the stadium once again. France 20, Uruguay 12. 2 tries apiece if you're just joining us here on Rugby World Cup Radio 5 Live Sports Extra. A very good evening as the French scrum, dynamic again, putting huge pressure. They've got a penalty advantage. Luku puts the kick downfield, meant for Louis Biari, this exciting winger. But again, another penalty for France. And they're just beginning to mount up a bit here, Johnny Beattie. This is a extended period of time where the pressure is all going one way.
It's going one way, but they need to now capitalise. They've got 20 minutes to earn themselves, and they will have one eye. Even though they haven't been excellent and thorough in their work, they know a bonus point might be useful come the end of this tournament. Already with the win against the All Blacks in their back pocket. But can they be efficient on their ball? Can they convert these opportunities in this possession? A big line out now coming up.
Malvaca with the ball. Throws it straight down the middle of the line-out. Nicely taken by Flamand, and the French pack steady themselves. They've got a decent drive, but they've been pushed to the right-hand side by Uruguay. The yellow shirts of Uruguay trying getting in here to splinter this, but France have gained about 8 or 9 metres. They're very close to the Uruguayan line. 5 metres from this near side touchline. A pod of 3 or 4 French forwards waiting to go, but Uruguay once again hold defiant, and they get the turnover. Listen to those boos from the French crowd.
Really well defended by Uruguay. They've filtered their way through. They've muscled their way through the middle. France unable again to capitalise on that possession. You can see the frustration building around this stadium. The whistles going up.
Both stay up.
But very enterprising by Uruguay.
Sit, please. Let's go, Blue.
They've defended like their lives depend on it. And again, the heart they'll take from this, even if the game doesn't go their way in the last 20 minutes, still all to play for. Italy, Namibia and New Zealand, the rest of their pool matches, they will be delighted with some of the quality of the work they've got through the defensive sets and the heart they've shown.
Omacher ready to feed. Now, the last scrum, France are all over Uruguay. Change front rows. What will it mean to the balance of this scrum as Omacher feeds? France have got good position. The ball is there. Omacher is a penalty to France.
Got it here.
Uruguay have got to get that ball out the back of the scrum quicker.
I've got tight head collect here.
That time it was the tight head. Puissy, 22 stone, Reinaldo Puissy, the man who folded, and the pitch once again here. It's a massive clump of turf which has just come up from that scrum. France, hungry for more, going back for another scrum. 20 points to 12 to France, if you're just joining us. Uruguay, 10 minutes ago, were within a point. 13-12, an immediate response from France. Lucky, but immediate. Malvaca with the score, and they've increased the lead to 20 points to 12. And France's front row. Arms interlocked. Here come the second row. Charleroi and Thibaut Flamand. And the crowd just beyond that try line, waving their tricolour flags, desperate for France to find their third try. They should be putting sides like Uruguay away, but Los Teros are having none of it here. It's a defiant performance from Esteban Menezes' team.
Stability on the set.
And once again, the problems of stability, which Ben O'Keefe has
Both teams
been consistent with in terms of his messaging. He doesn't want any movement before the ball is fed. We're going to try again. The scrum for France inside Uruguay's 22. From their perspective, Johnny, they simply have, from Uruguay's perspective, they've simply got a hold on here.
You have to dig in. A score here for France would be a big momentum shift. So they've had all the ball, but they haven't managed to crack this Uruguayan defensive.
Luku ready to feed. The scrum 10 metres from this near side touchline. France from left to right in their blue shirts, white shorts and red socks. Luku feeds the scrum. The 8. That's a penalty to Uruguay.
Losing the bind.
France guilty.
Bind to the ground.
Losing their bind.
It's Red Awardy that's been pinged. And they've intentionally gone for the scrum. They could have gone to the corner, but their maul hasn't been incredibly effective. The scrum, they've looked like they've gone forward, but it's been so unstable. France have just been so unsettled. They haven't worked their way into this game at all. They're actually creeping forward, but it's Red Awardy. He's first to lose his bind under the pressure of moving forward, and Uruguay breathe another sigh of relief. Incredible scenes.
Maxime Luku, scrum half, substituted by France. On comes Baptiste Koulou of Lyon, his first World Cup. As Gattas, the replacement hooker, feeds. Quick ball off the top for Uruguay. They throw it wide. And once again, Villaseca tries to crash it through the centres. Back to the left-hand side for Uruguay, just managed to hold on to it. Great continuity down this left-hand touchline. Freitas meets an absolute wall of French players. Advantage being played, though, to Uruguay. Chip kick over the top, and it's going to be easy pickings, but Uruguay get the penalty.
You can actually just see Baptiste Couillou running back almost in shame. First intervention's a high tackle right underneath us on the touchline. Uruguay not shy of playing. I mean, most sides would try and kick out their back third. Uruguay, short line out, hit up in the middle, reverse back down this blind side near to us. And Couillou, poor intervention.
Berchese has come on for Uruguay. Only had 2 backs to bring on. Both sides going with a 6-2 bench tonight. Berchese coming on and replacing Edgevere. It's a line out to Uruguay. 20 points to 12, France lead. 15 minutes or so left on the clock. What have Uruguay got left in the locker? The ball there is taken, just held onto by Gattas. Tries to drive it upfield, and Uruguay realign. It's Flamos coming in surely from an offside position, but the referee says play on. France quick off their defensive line. The drive up from Leyendecker, the Bayonne second row for Uruguay. The ball going again. Uruguay and Bianchi, the replacement forward, ducks his head as Umachea tries to look for a hole which isn't really there. There's 3 or 4 Uruguayan forwards. Centre of the pitch they go. All over the top, France's defensive line. Umachea once again. The pass inside that time, and Uruguay sniping, looking for holes in this French defence. They're backing themselves, that's for sure. The pick-up round the fringes by Deus, the replacement. All the subs for Uruguay on the pitch. They attack the right-hand channel, pumping the knees on that far side. Quick ball from Umachea. Play on, says the referee. It wasn't offside, but France now piling the bodies in. That's a penalty, though. France off their feet. 3 penalties in a row conceded by France. They've conceded about 70 metres in the last 3 minutes. What is going on in the minds of Fabien Gautier's side? 20 points to 12, 15 on the clock, and Uruguay kick downfield. They are 8-9 metres away from the French try line. Johnny Beattie.
Very kickable penalty as well. France now flooding through the ruck, counter-rucking, but going off their feet as Francois cross. And Uruguay had the option again. They could have gone for poles and taken the 3 to get themselves within 5 points and that bonus point, but opting for another line out now, a drive in the French 22.
Do they believe Uruguay? Gattas with the ball, taken nicely by Dotti, the replacement second row. The Uruguayan maul tight to the far side touchline. 8 metres out, its ball has gone down and then lost it in contact. Uruguay, it's gone forward, and France will have the scrum.
A real shame for Uruguay as well. They were moving forward. Their pack had done the difficult bit and nudged France over the gain line. They've just lost that ball in the transition, though. It's gone to deck. Scrum for France.
That's all. Otherwise, perfect.
What a game, Jim. This has been fascinating to follow. Nobody expected this to be the content of this game between these two sides. Enthralling battle. Uruguay fighting for every single inch.
Good balance. Good balance.
Once again.
Lines up. Nice and steady.
Well, the scrum has been a real battle tonight. Uruguay in the 22, in France's 22, but it's the French with the put-in. They lead by 20 points to 12. We've got 13 and a half minutes till the end of the game. Uruguay looking, cannot concede a penalty here, and that's exactly what's happened. This time the loose head, Matias Benitez, folds. And the messaging, as we've said all night, from Ben O'Keefe has been consistent. They cannot have any movement before the ball's in, and then a lot of the time Uruguay's front row just cannot take the heat from France.
It's been quite incredible. I cannot remember any chunks of this second half where France have retained possession. I can't remember any pieces of multi-phase or Antoine Hastoy putting the ball through his hands.
Line out one by France. Hastoy now doing exactly that, getting the ball down the line. Muevaka takes it on. Villiers almost knocked on by Jaminet. The ball ricochets and Uruguay will take possession back on their 10-metre line. And now France have the penalty. Coolio tries to take it quickly.
Disjointed launch play again by Jaminet. Ball comes to him, but it's on his back shoulder. He has to check his run.
Played by his player in front. Offside.
The initial piece is actually quite nice. Bit of deviation in the midfield, but the final pass quality to Jaminet is catastrophic. He's forced to kick the ball into traffic. Luckily, France get a penalty, but from nothing. It's from an accidental offside, really, as the ball ricocheted off a Uruguayan.
Just the 2 tries from France in 68.5 minutes against Uruguay. Uruguay ranked 17th in the world. This their 5th World Cup. They have only won 3 matches in World Cup history before tonight. Georgia in 03, Spain in 99, Fiji in 2019. They are 8 points off the hosts. France have to find something quickly. They've got an 8-point lead, but they should be well ahead by now as they take the ball at the back of the line out. It looked like a knock-on. Has it been spotted? Yes, it has. It's been spotted by the touch judge on this near side, and this disjointed, fragmented performance from France continues.
Wide open at the tail. The ball taken by Makalou, but again, it's great spoiling. You have to compliment the work of Manu. Leinacher gets through the line. You can just see disrupts, takes the hand of Makalou, who comes down, to be fair, with ball in 2 hands, but the big mitt of the Uruguayan gets through, disrupts, forces the knock-on. Wily piece of play by the big second rower, and Uruguay, another turnover.
Can they get out of their 22 though? Their scrum. Oh, if Uruguay had a scrum, Johnny Beattie, this would be a different scoreline.
Do you know, the last one, they actually, if they get in and away, they can get this ball. The number 8, the last one, held it too long at his feet.
Ormacher must get this scrum out. He's saying the ball's about to go down. He has to get it out quickly. From a Uruguayan perspective, they've got to act quick. And they do get it out. And taking it once up, Villaseca, a real skipper's knock from the centre, but they've lost possession. It's come out, and France could make them pay here. Makalou, the open side, takes it on into Uruguay's 22, into the final 10 minutes. France now on the attack, far side channel, playing left to right. The pick up and drive once more from the open side. Quick ball here, Kulu, Hastoy, the fly half. Good tackle, big hits coming in on the French pack. And it's been stolen by Uruguay. They steal possession back. There is absolutely no confidence with ball in hand from France. And again a knock-on from Uruguay.
It's another rip in the... It's a great turnover by Uruguay. Again, it's Red Awardi that's been stood up in the tackle. Uruguay, after initially coughing up the ball under their own sticks. France working their way through phases, but Red Awardi... And it's Nico Freitas, the man from Van, again, try scorer. He's had a great innings as well. Rips the ball off the big loose head prop. Knock on again though from Uruguay in transition. Another chance to launch for France, but my oh my.
I don't believe so.
Have they been disjointed? Have they been poor? I can't remember a French performance like this in recent times under Fabien Galtier.
I didn't see the knee on the ground, that's why I allowed it. It's a pretty good move again.
I think they're 24 from 25 in the last home games. Most of them emphatic. Wins at a canter, and this against Uruguay has been possibly one of the hardest, most difficult test matches I can remember them playing. Quite incredible.
15 games France have won at home. This winning streak, they're 8 points clear at the moment. They have only scored 2 tries against the 17th ranked team in the world. They have a scrum on Uruguay's 22. Left to right France attack. Just had a break and play for a bit of water. And the Uruguayan medics on the pitch just to check on a couple of players. Last 10 minutes. Whatever happens today, the debrief, the review of this match is going to be particularly ugly if you're in the French camp. as Cooley, the scrum half, prepares to feed the scrum. On the 22, just the one option, Billy Barry on this right wing. Jaminet waiting behind the scrum. 4 French backs out to the left-hand side. Coolio waiting. Jaminet comes into line. Hastoy takes it. Moefana back inside. The pick-up round the fringe by Coolio. France on the rampage, looking for their 3rd try. They need to put this game to bed now. Picking up on the fringe, Macalou the open side, through the thick of the action. The pick-up round the fringe has come the French pack. Now they're 8 metres out, right underneath the posts. Uruguay's defence must hold here. 2012 France lead. They've got option to the right-hand side. They get it out in the corner. Biel Barry makes no mistake. It was coming. And the 20-year-old scores in the corner, and the relief among the 50,000 French fans here in Lille is palpable.
Palpable, but you still get the feeling they're shell-shocked. 75 minutes they've toiled, that in the 75th minute, and it must have been the 5th or 6th minute was their last really decent, effective piece of possession, controlling the ball, eliminating defenders, strong carries, and then the 3-quarter line coming together to create the space, the overlap for Biel Barry, the rocket on the right-hand wing. And this time his try is accorded, but it's been a difficult all day for the French.
Jaminet with the conversion attempt, the game now won. And the huddle, the French team having a huddle and taking enormous deep breaths. The pressure has got to them tonight, no question. 25-12. Can he make it 27? Up sent Jaminet. That's a much, much better strike from the fullback. Once again, searing height on the ball. And France stretch further ahead, 27 points to 12. And the first try in this year's World Cup by Louis Biel Barry, the youngest player in French World Cup history, 20 years of age, the Bordeaux winger, as Uruguay get us back underway. And the try scorer immediately under pressure from Freitas, the left wing, who scored the opening try of the night in the first 5 minutes of the contest.
There it is, here it comes, there it is.
6 minutes to full time. And France now just beginning to bulldoze through the tackles outside their 22, 15 metres from this near side touchline. Uruguay have come so close to producing an incredible moment of World Cup history. It's France throw the ball out wide down that far channel, and Moefana takes it on. Villiers hardly had a chance tonight, Villiers. But Uruguay still playing and get the penalty. Giving everything.
I understand you slipped.
They have deserved so much more tonight.
I was just going to say, it's going to be a really interesting choice for France. What will they do on this exit? Will they try and hold on to ball, play out and go for that bonus point, or will they try the pragmatic way? Will they kick their way out? They've had an audible. Kuyu's fed his men on the left-hand side, but it's a 3-on-3. Uruguay have come up really well again, defensively, aggressively, chopped them to the deck, forced the turnover, as they have done all day, and now they get a chance as we enter the 75th minute to finish this game with a flourish.
Batas with the line-out throw. It's lost forward, and France will come away with it. Now, will they have a bit of a go from their 22? Possession taken upfield by Francois Cros.
Fine, ball was turnover's good.
And the turnover straight away from Uruguay. Unbelievable defensive work. Villaseca tries to burst through the captain in midfield. 3 options to the left-hand side. The threat back inside. And driving on here, Sivivetta, the open side for Uruguay. They're on the French 22. They have been so entertaining. They've got options out wide here. If they can get the timing of the pass. And Masha couldn't quite get it right. And France kick it right through. Bursting through now, Macalou. Can he finish it off? He is. He's racing clear. And he will give France a bonus point try. Now, Uruguay protesting this.
You can see the Uruguayans are thinking they're protesting that France have kicked that ball through the ruck, which is illegal. It looked like a counter-ruck. I don't know whose foot it came off, but the ball popped out the back of the ruck. Sekou Macalou, the first to react. And he runs the length, but it's going to be referred to the TMO.
Who's in front there? think it's a counter-ruck. We'll have a look.
Yeah, Ben, here's your best angle to show what you're asking for. It'll be coming up in a second.
Ben Whitehouse, the TMO, in conversation with Ben O'Keefe, our referee. These two have been busy tonight.
Whose foot it is, if it's a legitimate counter-ruck and not kicked through, whether or not 7 Blues...
Here's the angle, Ben.
Yeah, or if it is 7.
We're watching a replay on the screen as Mackley came through. He powered through, took Villaseca off the ball and kicked the ball through.
Ben, we'll show you a front-on angle as well. Here's the front-on.
The crowd booing, they want this through.
Oh, that looks clearly on the big screen like he's kicked the ball forward. The rule states that you have to heel the ball or kick it backwards in a counter-up.
Uruguay have come off the trial as if to say, come on, Ben O'Keefe, that's...
So Ben, I believe that the player didn't know his counter-ruck through. He can't kick it through there, he's got eyes on the ball. So we'll just say I'll try back for the penalty.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ben.
Okay,
so we'll go the whole the way back.
The counter-ruck's initially fine, but he's looking at the
penalty for Uruguay. The counter-ruck illegal by Mackley.
No try back for the penalty.
And they've been denied the bonus point. And listen to that reaction from...
Hey, it's the right decision. They can't whistle.
Well, they are.
I know they are.
And I tell you what is interesting, the Uruguayan fans, there's a pocket of about maybe between 50 and 100 behind that post, waving their Uruguayan flag, standing up and cheering their team.
Keep going, keep going.
They've come so close to producing one of the most magical moments in World Cup history. The penalty then, all the way back to the French 22. Less than 4 minutes on the clock. Uruguay will kick this to the corner.
The French are still whistling. Unbelievable. It's clear as day on the big screen. You can't come through a ruck and kick the ball. The rules have changed. They've been changed for a couple of seasons.
Ball taken just at the back by Uruguay. Or have they've lost it again? Oh, the line-out's coming under all sorts of pressure. Gattas, the hooker, the replacement hooker, failing to find his jumper. France defends. And a Lele Bleu rings out once again. 27 points to 12. The kick long downfield from Coolio, and it's out. And Uruguay think about going quickly, but that's twice now, Johnny, in the last 10 minutes. They have had opportunity. They just haven't done the basics and executed them properly.
And you have to say, every other big side in this competition that's looking forward to potentially facing France in the quarters, semis or final will now be thinking, these boys are human. They're takeable. They falter like everybody and they shake. They have wobbled massively tonight.
Uruguay trying again. That line out is so loose, but Deus is coming through for Uruguay. And they're trying to get the ball out wide. I have to say, the captain tonight, Villaseca, has thrown everything tonight. He's been so committed as Uruguay drive up once again. 27-12. The Marseillaise ringing out once again round this stadium. France with just 3 tries. If you're joining us late, it's been a hugely entertaining match and a moment where Uruguay could have caused the biggest shock in the history of the World Cup.
They've got a penalty advantage as well.
Surely Ben O'Keefe will come back for it. There goes the whistle.
Another penalty.
A penalty count tonight from France.
Outrageous.
Shocking.
Absolutely outrageous.
They last week against New Zealand, they only conceded 5 penalties. It is well into double figures. Now, last 2 minutes for Uruguay. Can they try and find a way to... First of all, they've got to secure the line out. The last 3, they've lost. It's inside France's 22. This could be their last 3 of the last. 14 penalties conceded by France, 16 by Uruguay. As Mackley, who thought he got the bonus point try, is just getting his left wrist taped up by the French medic. At some point, one of the broadcasters has got to give a player of the match, Johnny. I'm not quite sure who it's going to, as the line out thrown long by Uruguay, and again it's lost, and France smack it downfield. Uruguay take it back to halfway. Amasha and Basso takes it up. Uruguay defiant and giving absolutely everything. The ball is there. Omachia, the scrum half, 15 metres from this near side touchline into almost the last minute of play here. Uruguay 27-12 down. France want this game finished and over. Uruguay want to have one last throw of the dice up to the 10-metre line. France's 10-metre line. Can they keep possession for the rest of this match? So they go down that far right-hand channel. Omachia at 9, the replacement scrum half, picks up and throws it to the left-hand side. There's options right as Uruguay look to attack through Amaja, the try scorer. Try number 2, phase number 8. Another penalty for Uruguay coming. And again, the boos start to ring out here in Lille as some big crunching tackles. That time, Boudehon coming through, and here comes the penalty. Penalty number 15 for France tonight. Uruguay lead in the stakes, but...
I know it's right at the end of the game. It's the same as Uruguay. We've had multiple penalties down here. The next one will be a yellow card if it continues, okay?
François Creux, the replacement captain, being warned of a yellow card if there's one more penalty conceded. Now, Felipe Berchesi just has to fine touch with this kick on the 10-metre line. Can't be too greedy, has to fine touch. Job one done. Now, what about Facundo Gattas? Can he find his jumper in the line out? It's in the French 22. The game is won by France. They're 27-12 up. They're unlikely to get their bonus point try. Can Uruguay finish with a flourish? They go to 2 in the line out. Sensible option taken by Dotti. They've got the ball at the back of the maul here, but France can hold them there. They're not too concerned. Here comes the rumble, here comes the drive. The pick up round the fringes there by Piorsi, the tight head. Uruguay pick up and drive once more. Benitez, the loose head, prop to prop. Quick ball, Omachia to Villaseca. Villaseca gets it out. And Uruguay just almost had an interception there for France, but Uruguay underneath the France post. This is going to be the last play of the match. Uruguay deserves something here, but France refusing to give it to them. It's pretty rough on the deck as Uruguay's trying to throw some shape. Villaseca once again, he's lost possession. Now France, they come away with it. They will want the bonus point, but Uruguay now steal it back, and that is that. Referee Ben O'Keefe blows the full-time whistle. An exhausting second half, and my goodness, what an entertaining 80 minutes from Uruguay, and what a horror show from France. Johnny Beattie.
A horror show, and the reaction given, I'm not sure if you can hear on our mics, but a mix of cheer, which is subdued, and whistling from the French public, because that was a horror show. I know they've come away 15 points to good, they've won the game, but oh my word, the quality of the content and what France were able to put together in that game was little to nothing. Absolutely incredible to watch unfold against a feisty, nuggety, hard-running Uruguayan side that was full of heart, well organised, and showed that they are going to be right in it in this group as well. Games to come against Italy, Namibia, and finish against New Zealand. But France, the French players, you could see 2-3 minutes before the final kickoff heading down and out of the tunnel, the mixed reaction and a performance they all want to scratch, get by and play Namibia as soon as possible, because that was poor. They were really poor.
Stay with us as we get reaction here to France beating Uruguay, but there's going to be some choice words said after this. That we talked about it earlier, Johnny, but if Uruguay had a set piece, if they had a functioning scrum and a functioning line out, this could have been a very different outcome.
Very different. And that was everything that was ball in hand. Uruguay were outstanding. The ability to carry, hard run, collisions. They were dominant on the gain line against the French blitz defense that we're normally used to seeing obliterate people. But that was it. You're absolutely right. The set piece, if they could have held up in scrum, not coughed up those penalties and won their own line-out ball, oh my word, they would have won that game. And it could have been a canter. Comfortable ball in hand, great starter plays when they got their ball, causing the French defensive line all sorts of trouble.
They've just confirmed, I think, the player of the match for France, Maxime Lucu, but let's be honest, shouldn't have gone actually to Uruguay tonight, because I don't think any French player can say that they've covered themselves in glory tonight.
You could have had skipper Villaseca, he was phenomenal. You could have try scorer Freitas after his try, his defensive disruptive work as well. Tremendous. Frenchies, Maxime Lucu, very, very lucky. I think he'll be a little bit sheepish picking up that trophy, to be honest.
We have a touchline reporter. Our touchline reporter, Lou Ransom, is down there, and hopefully will be speaking to Maxime Lucu down on the touchline. He's just grabbed the microphone, and hopefully we'll be able to get some choice words from him shortly. But as we reflect on that, Johnny, just where do France? We talked about Namibia next, but Fabien Galtier did make 12 changes tonight, and he said in the week, and so did Rafael Ibanez, his team manager, this was an opportunity for players who were on the fringes of the first choice 23 to put their hands up for selection, and very few have done that tonight. Does that make Galtier's job actually easier?
No, look, mentally it's a hard game to come into if you come in with Latin temperament and you're not quite applied, disjointed opposition. But every single one of that 15 that Fabien has picked is an international. The bulk have played in Six Nations, in Autumn Nations Series, and Summer Nations Tests. They are experienced campaigners. It's not like this is full of youth. The only guy that has that excuse is Louis Biaï-Barry, who scored his try. But for Fabien, it's a little bit worrying, because you look through that squad, it's top 14 winners, it's Champions Cup winners, it's players that have played at the highest level for a long time. But they've come together and been extremely poor. Extremely poor. So he will almost bin that. You want to bin that performance, move on to Namibia, which won't be easy either, because it's a different type of semi-professional rugby players. It's people that are dentists. I've got mates playing for Namibia that are doctors, that are dentists, that are going to throw absolutely everything, all heart. But it's not an easy game, because that's Namibia's World Cup final, as this was for Uruguay. So for Fabien, very difficult. What do you take from this game? Absolutely nothing. There's nothing to retain positive. You move on, you take the points, you get to Namibia, and you aim for more of the same. Before, the most difficult game, you would say, the Italians in their last round of the pool fixtures. But then ultimately, if you're going to get through to the quarterfinals after beating the All Blacks and perform like that, what's it for? You have to find that All Blacks performance every single week, no matter who the opposition is. And that's where the psychological and mental aspect, you'll be extremely disappointed.
The players are forming a tunnel. Uruguay have been clapped off the pitch. Now they're reciprocating for France. We'll hope to have more reaction for you in the next few minutes, hoping to hear from Andres Villaseca, the captain of Uruguay, in a moment. But they're also going to make sure they go around the pitch and thank their teammates who in the squad, but also the fans. That one group of about 100 Uruguay fans down to that right-hand side, and someone in the top left-hand side of this stadium. It's a long trip to France, and they have made such a noise as they get the Uruguayan flags out, flying them with pride on a night where they have come very, very close to shocking the hosts on their own patch. Andres Villaseca has gone into the crowd to get his son, I think. And he is now on the touchline, and his head heavily bandaged up with white tape and plaster every time he took the ball to the line. Real commitment from him. And it really was a captain's knock from Andres Villaseca. Let's round up, but let's review as we conclude and round things up, Johnny, and reflect on what Uruguay can take from this performance, because they have come so close. And one of the big talking points will actually be the non-sending off of Romain Tafifanua for a left shoulder in the face of Santiago Arata, the Uruguayan Scrum half, how he wasn't taken off the pitch for an HIA, we're still not sure. But all the slow-mos, all the replays, they said mitigation. But on another night, France would have been playing with 14 players for the best part of 65 minutes.
And if they played the way they did with 14 men, they'd have lost that game. A man down and line out, hard to compete. And at scrum time, they'd have lost that dominance. So Uruguay, what can Uruguay take? They can take absolute confidence, pride, huge emotion into their next game. As for the travelling support, the you mentioned smatterings of them around the ground. Huge pride, honour, respect, and travelling all the way over here to see their side, and them nearly knocking over the host nation. I mean, unbelievable scenes. And for everyone back home listening, everyone in Uruguay, I mean, the pride that they must have in their team coming here and nearly knocking over the host country. I mean, exceptional. They were absolutely exceptional. We talk in this game a lot about talent and about heart, and there was one side that had a lot more talent and showed nothing on the field, and then there was the Uruguayans. Way less talent, all heart, all guts, all determination, and could have very well run out winners that game. They were superb to watch.
Great stuff, Johnny. Thanks very much indeed. Johnny Beattie, the former Scotland flanker, with me, James Burridge, here at Lille, and coming very, very close to one of the biggest shocks in Rugby World Cup history. Quite extraordinary when you think about it. They were a point behind, and then suddenly the game swung. But on another night, different referees' interpretations, we could be witnessing something truly, truly special. Plenty of rugby, though, still to come. Tomorrow night, New Zealand, Namibia. Then Saturday, Samoa against Chile, Wales against Portugal, Ireland against Tonga, and then Sunday, South Africa, Romania, Australia, Fiji, and England, Japan. It has been an incredible night here in Lille. Thank you very much for your company. France doing just enough to win here against Uruguay by 27 points to 12.